Hi, Diane. I'm Laurel. I'm the lawyer at Alinea. I understand from my assistant that there's been a recent incident where your husband, John, was physically violent with you. Before we get started, and I also understand you're at home and you only have a few minutes to talk right now, so I want to do this quickly. Before we get started, can you tell me when you started living with John?
About 2008, I think.
Okay, and then when were you married?
October 1st, 2010.
Okay, so you've been together about 10, 12 years.
That's right.
Do you have kids?
No, I was married before and all my kids were grown up.
Okay, great. Okay, well, why don't you tell me what happened a few days ago and whether or not there was police intervention?
Well, I was making breakfast and we were arguing about something stupid. And I was trying to get everything done, the bacon, the sausages, squeezing the orange juice. And I just said to John, can you just wash your hands and get the butter the toast? And I was busy doing something and saw that he took it out and started buttering. And I said, look, you didn't wash your hands. And he just flipped out, grabbed the toaster, flung it at my head, and it hit the wall and dented it and broke in pieces on the ground. And I just lost it. And I grabbed the butter knife and I flung it at him, and it hit him in the chest and bounced into his eye. So it kind of glanced off and cut his eye, and he just turned. He just grabbed me by the throat and he had me up against the refrigerator and he was choking me, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything. I was just struggling for air, and he knew it. I've just never seen him look so crazed. Okay. And then he just stopped.
Yeah. Okay, so can you, that's terrifying. So just take a breath. Can you tell me what happened after he choked you? So,
well, he just huffed and stormed away. And then within, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, it wasn't long, the police arrived. I think the neighbors must have heard the screaming and arguing, because I was screaming at him I just.
Okay, so what happened when the police came?
They separated us and took us into different rooms and interviewed him, and then they came back and explained to us that these are really stressful times, and that if they could recommend charges, but I would be in a little bit more trouble because I used a knife, and apparently that's a more serious matter, and so they just suggested that I pack my bag and go off for the night. So I did, and they were there while I packed, and I went to my sister's.
Okay, so I just want to ask you about kind of how things happened with the police. Do you recall what you told them? Did you tell them about him choking you?
No, I was still so upset and crying for a lot of the interview, and I didn't tell them about that.
Okay. So he choked you. Do you have any marks or any bruises on you from that whole incident?
Yes, but they didn't come out until a few days later. And when I saw them, I took some photographs. I mean, there's still a little bit of bruising. Mm-hmm. This was about a week ago, and so I took photographs.
Okay, that's great. So it's good that you have the presence of mind to take photos. Where are the photos? Where are they?
They're on my phone. I just took iPhone pictures.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to email yourself those photos. You'd be surprised at how easy it is to lose your phone or somebody else lose access to those photos. And those could be important evidence in any future court application. So can you take a moment after we get off the phone to quickly email those to yourself?
Yes, I'll do that. Or you might email them to my sister.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me if there's been any incidents like this in the past?
Well, not really physical, always just arguing, always him unhappy with something I've done. Although I was really on him about his drinking about 5 years ago, and he slapped me a few times, but I was nagging him a lot. I was really nagging him about his drinking, and so I kind of
Okay,
understood.
Diane, I want to stop you there for a second. As far as like any abuse goes, it's never your fault. Okay, there's never any permission or anything you can do that gives anyone permission to lay their hands on you like that. So I don't want you to minimize the fact that he was slapping you. I don't want you to minimize anything that happened. And as far as the recent incident, it's not, if you're defending yourself, that's not an excuse for someone to choke you. Okay. So you say that slapping incident was about 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to be asking you about dates and times that things happen, because that will become really important as much as possible, because to give a judge or someone else a picture of what's happened in your relationship. So I just want to ask you a few more details. Can you tell me a little bit more about your relationship leading up to this incident? What was your dynamic like between you and John?
Well, like I said, it's been very tense, very strained, and he often, the reason I want to email the photos to my sister is he's often picking up my phone and looking at my texts and my email, so I'll have to delete it right away. And he sometimes even pretends he's me and responds. And the other day I had a coworker asking me to take a shift, and he said, what are you doing texting Larry? He thinks I'm cheating on him or something, and I'm not. But he's very, very possessive.
Okay. So I just want to intervene again, just say, like, I'm very concerned that he's watching all your emails and texts and getting onto your, banking and stuff. So if you can, I want you to set up a new email address that he doesn't have access to. That's going to be really important for you. And also, I just want to make the point, you don't have to prove to me whether or not you've had an affair. I don't care. And a judge is not going to care either. So I understand it's important for you for me to know you're not having an affair, and I believe you. But I just want you to know that in Canada, it's no fault divorce, which means that it wouldn't make a difference if you were having an affair. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when was it that
he
it was...
always tells me that, if he gets a divorce, it'll be because I've cheated on him. And so I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's another sign of abuse in a relationship. So often the physical abuse, I find, isn't the first thing that happens. It's there's a whole lot of other mental and emotional abuse that happens prior. Mm-hmm. And that's what it sounds like has probably been happening in your relationship. Can you tell me exactly when it was he was getting into your phone and accusing you of cheating?
Oh, he's done that for at least the last 4 years.
Okay. All right. And so
when he accused me of cheating, that's just been in the last few months.
Okay. And that incident with your coworker, Larry, can you pin that down to like a
month? 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Okay.
No, 2 weeks ago.
And so where is he right now?
He's walking on our dog.
Okay. So are you concerned for your safety right now?
Well, the reason I made the call to you is because last night, he was laughing about how he told the police I used a butcher knife, that I threw a butcher knife at him. Mm-hmm. and he was thinking, that was really hilarious. And then he just kind of turned and he said, if you ever do anything like that to me again, I'm going to kill you. And that really made me turn cold. I believe him. Mm-hmm. And so I felt that I really have to take this in hand, and I have to do something. I don't know what I can do, but I just know that it's a dangerous situation for me to be there.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you quickly what you can do, and then we're going to end this call so that you can go somewhere safe. Okay. So the first thing, because this is a marriage, a family relation, marriage-like relationship in a family situation, they call this family violence under the Family Law Act. And what that means is that you can apply for a protection order. And a protection order under the Family Law Act will, if you are able to get one, which I expect you'll be able to, it'll require that John have no contact with you. And it can also stipulate that he doesn't come near your residence or your place of work. Okay. There can always be exceptions if you do need to work out your family law, your family matters, if you decide to move forward with a separation. I know you probably haven't given that much thought right now, but something to think about for the future. If John were to breach the protection order, then he could be charged criminally. So these are very serious orders. Also, just for you to know, there's a protection order registry. So that's where all the protection orders are kind of housed, and the police will know that if you are calling, they will respond very quickly to any calls from you. And they will also realize that you're the one who's at risk, not John, for example, because of, that incident where they first showed up. They didn't maybe make the right call on that situation. So there are some other things that I want you to do, potentially making a statement to police about the choking incident. But I'm a little bit concerned about John coming home while you're on the phone with me. Yeah. So I want you to get to your sisters or somewhere safe where we can have a longer conversation about how you apply for a protection order. Does that sound good? Do you think you can do that?
I'm just wondering if there's any other resources that when I get to my sisters that I can look at around, just things I can do between now and talking to the police or getting my court order. I'm just very scared.
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing to mention. I'm going to share my screen with you right now, and I'm going to show you the My Law BC website, and it will show you how you can use their guided pathway to do a safety plan is what they call it. So there's two websites I want you to have a look at. This one is My Law BC. You see?
Yep.
Okay, and if you go down, you go to abuse and family violence, and there you see make a safety plan. So you can click on that and follow that pathway, and it'll guide you on how you can make sure that you're safe. Because at the end of the day, an order, even if you have it, is a piece of paper, and it will be, while it will help you protect yourself, it's not the only thing that you need to do. Okay?
Okay, thanks for your help, Laurel. I think I better get going, but I'm going to get on this website when I get to my sisters.
All right, that sounds great. I'll talk to you soon, Diane.
Okay, bye-bye.